On today's show,
can Tibbs and the Wolves revive Rose's career? And is DeRozan a legit MVP candidate?
up-down on LeBron playing the best ball of his career, and Bill Kennedy's block call.
And we'll toss your way a supercharged edition of the Meme Team.
It's Thursday, March 8th. The starter starts now.
Good evening, sweet world, and welcome to The Starters, presented by Jack Daniel's Tennessee Honey. Whether you're joining us live right now on NBA TV, watching later on YouTube, maybe listening to the podcast, doesn't matter, we're happy to have you. I'm Jay Skeets, and alongside me, as always, that's Tess Mellis.
This is the show after 10 before tip.
To his right, the international man of mystery, taking it to the max, Lee Ellis.
Friend.
Lily. And last, certainly not least, over yonder, that is the bearded one, that's Trey Kirby.
Hey,
yo! Trey, what's poppin', man?
Well, I'm here at the internet looking for your best tweets at #TheStarters. And speaking of Twitter, there was a pretty strange Twitter moment that popped up yesterday. As the headline read, "What is a podcast co-host sleeveless top?" As it turns out, that's a real product that's available from modcloth.com. Only $35, good deal, because they say even a late night in the studio deserves your best style effort. This loose and flowy top makes your outfit just as clever as the insights you share with your digital audience. So true. And honestly, Skeets, I think you could pull it off. But seeing as we are noted podcasters, it brings us to today's question. What is some starters-themed clothing that we can sell? And I'm not talking about just basic t-shirts. For instance, you guys already know about my line of Pocket Dog cargo shorts I'm launching this summer. Perfect for barbecue season. But we could also have some very solid play mittens with exposed thumbs, so you can always give the two thumbs up, or maybe even a Tess Mellis hair hat, so even those without hair can enjoy having an impeccably groomed piece of hair up on top of their head. But we want to hear from you, so let us know on Twitter what's some starters-themed clothing that we could sell. Send us your best ideas, and we'll get to work.
All right, yeah, get those tweets in. Let's make some money. The Starters clothing line. All right, we got an action-packed show tonight. Got a lot to talk about, but before we get into it, we got to ask the Banana Man here, Lee Ellis, paying off February's Pick'em loss yesterday. How are you feeling after taking down what I guess eventually was about 8.5 bananas?
Yeah, let's round up to 9.
No, well.
I had my first ever banana hangover this morning.
Did you have bananas?
I haven't eaten one banana today, which is the first time that's happened in a long time.
And we did say, we were going to give $25 to charity collectively as a group here, to a charity of your choice. Have you chosen?
For each banana?
Yes, for each banana.
Mm-hmm.
So about $200. Where are we going?
We're going to Planned Parenthood, which is
Okay.
a non-profit that provides services for women's reproductive health care. So I thought that was appropriate on a day like today, International Women's Day.
Good stuff. We'll get you some bananas.
Just hold off on the bananas. Give me another day.
I love it. All right. As I said, lots to talk about. Let's get right into a little true or false. Trey has the questions, and we'll debate whether it's true or false. Let's do this.
Just as the tea leaves foretold when he was traded by the Cavs, then released by the Jazz, Derrick Rose is signing with the Minnesota Timberwolves to finish out this season. You already know the whole Derrick Rose story at this point, but he will be reunited with the coach that helped him win MVP what feels like a million years ago. So true or false, Tom Thibodeau will rejuvenate Derrick Rose
Rejuvenate.
in 2018.
Ooh, he's not a wizard. He's not going to rejuvenate him. He's not going to turn him back into the old Derrick Rose. I think we know what Derrick Rose is at this point. Give you tiny spurts where he can get to the rim, but he shouldn't be playing a lot of minutes for you. And I guess what the Wolves are looking at is a guy who can help their bench potentially. It's the worst in the NBA. He's going to steal minutes from Tyus Jones, but they're going to put the ball in his hands and see if he can score.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Maybe he can score. He can't play off the ball.
No.
He can't shoot threes. The game that made him an MVP doesn't exist anymore. He doesn't have that explosiveness, and it's just not the way the league has gone. So for me, Derrick Rose has to adapt. And even though he's only 29, he's an old 29, but if he can play a role like Jason Kidd was towards the end of his career, where he can at least have one skill that's strong, shooting 3 points. I'm not saying that's Derrick Rose's skill, but if he can do something like that, then he can maybe make himself productive. Otherwise, I think it's bad for the Wolves if he's taking minutes off Tyus Jones.
I agree with that.
He's been very underrated this season. And I think this is at least a chance, a lifeline for Derrick Rose, but he has to understand that his MVP days and his best days are well beyond him. He can still play because he's still young, but he has to be the one now who has to take whatever opportunity the Wolves and potentially anyone else further gives him.
Yeah, I think everyone's rooting for Derrick Rose, but I wouldn't hold my breath that he's going to by no means go back to MVP Derrick Rose or even anything close to that. I guess it's great that he's with some familiar faces in not only Coach Tibbs, but Jimmy Butler, Taj Gibson, even Aaron Brooks there, guys he played with in his heyday there with the Chicago Bulls. But I'm with you. I don't love the idea of taking minutes from Tyus Jones. Maybe he plays with Tyus Jones he takes some minutes from Jamal Crawford and tries and give you a little
Even
bit
that,
scoring.
like-
I know they need a 3-and-D guy
Yeah,
off the bench,
and he
and
doesn't
Derrick
do
Rose
either of
doesn't do either of those. So that part's perplexing to me.
Well, the thing going for them, plus minus, they are the worst bench in the league. Tyus Jones has been solid, but Tom Thibodeau is going to roll him out there. And, when he left the Cavs earlier this season without telling him, he left the Knicks last season without telling him, it was a sign that the only person who was going to re-sign him, give him a shot, was Tom Thibodeau, somebody who knew him real well. Because he's been released for a little while now, and the only person to give him a contract was Tom Thibodeau and the Wolves. There was 10 days talks out there, but this is his shot. This is it.
Yeah,
right?
it probably is. I pray that the Minnesota Timberwolves make the playoffs to not only end that 13-year drought, but so we don't have some crazy fans going, well, they added Derrick Rose, and then they follow the playoffs, and here he is just hurting another team, as we showed you the numbers there. His last 3 stops, the teams were better when he wasn't out there. Those are just the numbers. I know you can put a lot into so you can fudge those a little bit, and who's he playing with and all that, but that's the truth. So I pray that doesn't happen.
But also,
he doesn't deserve that.
Jimmy Butler, he's only there because Jimmy Butler's injured.
Yeah.
If he wasn't injured, they wouldn't have signed him. But he and Jimmy Butler didn't get along anyway in their last days in Chicago there. So when Jimmy Butler comes back, what does that then mean for Derrick Rose? Does he even go further down the bench? I think that could be a bit of an issue there. But I think Thibodeau, because they had success together, wants to at least see what he can still get out of him. But if he can't shoot the three-pointer, he can't spread the floor, and he doesn't defend, I don't see where there are minutes for him.
Yeah, and we could see Derrick Rose as early as tonight. Warming up there, might get some minutes there for the Wolves. All right, next one, Trey.
DeMar DeRozan was demand last night, scoring 42 points in an overtime victory over the Pistons while giving us one of the plays of the season as he threw down an and-one dunk right near the end of regulation, then followed that up by assisting Fred VanVleet on the game winner in OT. Guys, true or false? DeMar DeRozan is in, you guessed it,
Oh, come on.
the MVP conversation. Welcome to the conversation.
Who isn't in it right now?
Everybody.
Let's
That's
maybe
true, we're
ask
talking.
that question.
Derrick Rose is not in the MVP
Right, okay,
conversation
yeah.
for this year. I mean, this is silly. We just did this with Lillard. What's the conversation? Where do you want to draw the line?
How
to
big
me,
is-
it's like top 3. You can maybe talk me into top 5.
Well, no,
But
and he's not in the conversation.
That's what I'm saying. I love DeMar DeRozan. That was an unbelievable performance. He really put the team on his back.
God, yeah.
The Raptors last night, not only that dunk, but setting up VanVleet and scoring the 42 and a couple assists, 6 assists. I mean, this was a great game. He's been great all year. He's added some elements to his game. But I'm with you. If the MVP line draws at like top 5 guys, then he's teetering on the edge, and then who really cares? He's not top 3.
He's not at the table. How big is this table? How large is the table?
This table right here.
Is it,
Well, this is a big table.
This is big. Is
You
it
put
an
a lot
8?
of guys
Is it a
here.
10?
He'd be sitting at this table, but most tables no.
Yeah, hey, Damian Lillard, can you get up? Because DeMar DeRozan needs a seat at the table. Oh, no, that's Russell Westbrook's seat. No, Russell Westbrook's not even in the conversation.
Well, who's top 3? Who's top 3? We all agree Harden is probably going to run away with this,
Yeah.
but then who's next?
LeBron.
LeBron and
You
a
still have
Warrior,
LeBron top 3?
probably.
Yeah.
And then a Warrior.
Yeah.
And then would
Or
you still have an
Davis,
Anthony
Giannis.
Davis
Yeah.
over
Davis,
DeMar?
yeah. Right,
I will
yeah.
say one thing. I think this is DeRozan's best season. Maybe not statistically, but as far as
Yeah.
his growth as a player.
100% agree.
And last night, what you saw at the end, what I really liked about him as a true leader, demanded the ball, went out and got his team buckets, hit that huge dunk, but that was the key play right there to me.
Setting
that part.
up VanVleet in the
because
corner.
because that shows confidence in
Yep.
your bench, in your second unit, and also how many other stars who are having such a great game, 42 points, barreling down the lane would have just said, I'm just going to try to finish this off myself. Instead, he made the right play. So often, if that was LeBron, people say, oh, LeBron's trying to avoid it again. It's DeRozan coming down saying, I'm on fire, I'm carrying my team, he's open, that's the best move, and he made it, and it worked for him. I think that leadership and that confidence is something that's been underrated with how DeMar has grown over these last couple of seasons.
Totally agree with
This
that.
is
And,
year 9 for him.
Yeah.
Definitely his best season.
and he is going to get, I assume, some MVP votes.
Yeah.
DeMar is. I mean, if the Raptors are flirting with 60 wins and they're the first team in the East, he's going to get some votes. He's going to get some 4th and 5th spot votes. He'll be on the list.
But he was getting more MVP
doesn't
consideration last year, right?
Well, he scored
Because
more.
of the scoring
Yeah,
numbers.
Yes.
but he's playing better overall. I
Yeah.
do agree with that. All right, final one.
Strange happenings in Los Angeles last night as the Lakers beat the Magic in controversial fashion. It all happened with LA leading by 1 with less than a second remaining. The Magic tried to inbound the ball, only the clock started before anyone touched it, then went to zeros as the ball was in the air. The refs called for a jump ball, so the teams jumped it up, but the Magic obviously couldn't get a shot up and took the L. We found out today that it should have been Magic ball for another inbound, but true or false, the Magic were robbed.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
They were robbed of a
possession.
chance of possession to try and win this thing with obviously a bit of a prayer throwing it up at the net. You said it there though, Trey. The NBA came out today, the last 2-minute report, and they said, quote, here it is, Since the pass was still in the air when the clock expired, the ball was still in Orlando's possession, and thus Orlando should have retained possession on the sideline at the nearest spot. Had the ball been touched by LA prior to the expiration of the clock, it would have been considered a loose ball, and the jump ball ruling would have been correct. But this was very, very strange because after the game, the crew chief, Bill Spooner, he's asked about it, and he says the opposite. He says, this was the rule. He gave you the precise 13E, 9-2, all that. And they thought they were getting the right call, and then the NBA comes out and says, no, we actually got this wrong in the replay center. I mean, they went and looked at this, obviously. It should have been magic ball on the sidelines.
Yeah, a referee started the clock.
Yep.
When yesterday they didn't think that a referee started the clock, that it just automatically started that there was a malfunction. The quotes from this game were pretty funny.
What do you mean?
A couple of the Magic players, never seen anything like that. I think they should change the rule, and they will. A Laker quote, sucks for them. Some really good quotes from
You know what is interesting to me, though, about this? This is the Magic and the Lakers. None of these teams are making the playoffs, okay? The Magic maybe want this win. It might help their chances of getting a higher draft pick. But what if this was the Nuggets and Jazz? Would they, and this whole thing exactly played out like it did last night, and the NBA came out the next day and said, oh, we actually got that wrong. There would be a protest, I'd imagine, and would we play that final 0.6 again? If this came down to a team possibly making the playoffs, we've seen it before.
I
They
know.
I think
replayed
so.
things. I think you would have to, but I don't think they will in this case.
No, I don't think they will in this case. It's just, I don't understand how common sense didn't prevail last night.
I know.
Where it's like, okay, someone messed up. It's 0.7 seconds. Let's just do it again. Instead, it's like you go to this whole jump ball situation, which just looked crazy. It was a bad look for the league. Give them the chance. They're not going to win in the game.
You want
anyway,
some sort of
probably.
like common sense card or
Yeah,
flag
well, just
thrown
to say,
on the court?
okay, something happened there. Let's just replay that last 7 seconds. It was silly.
Very, very strange. Yeah. Very strange. All right, we got to take a break. When we return, lots more still to come. Is LeBron playing the best ball of his career? Is that even possible?
See in the MVP conversation?
Even possible? Come on back. Right into the up-down report. Let's see those thumbs on Twitter, people. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Hashtag the starters. First one, guys, we start with the king. LeBron James scored 39 points, including 9 down the stretch as his Cavs beat the Nuggets in a bit of a revenge game, 113-108 on Wednesday. After the show, LeBron told ESPN's Cassidy Hubbarth that his play is, quote, probably at an all-time high. Are you up or down on those LeBron comments? Is he playing at an all-time high?
I think so.
Thumb up, thumb up. Trey says no.
I'm only going down because LeBron is ridiculous. Just look at the 2017 finals. He put up 33, 12, and 10 while shooting 56% from the field, 39% from three in the finals. The guy is crazy. You look back at his back-to-back MVP runs, both of them 9, 10, and 12, 13. Those are 4 of the 22 best seasons ever to ever be above 30 PER. LeBron has done incredible stuff throughout his entire career. He kind of took a month off this season, but maybe he's the most in control of the game he's ever been now. He's awesome, but he's done so much great stuff in his career, it's hard to say this is the best.
Yeah, he takes a couple of weeks off most years, but I'm looking at this from the whole season and say that this has been a remarkable season, and it probably is overall for his regular season, for a guy at his age with this many miles in his legs, to be still playing at this level, being in the MVP conversation. I think it probably is an all-time high for him.
Yeah, I totally agree, and he has to believe that if they're going to win this year. I mean, he has to believe that he is 2015 Finals LeBron without Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving and just do it on his own, because that's what this team reminds me of. I know Kevin Love is out, but it just reminds me of, of LeBron having to do everything on the floor. He got 39 last night.
Yep.
He averaged, 36 in that 2015 Finals. I think he's got to be that if they're going to do anything. He's got to be between 36 and 40. He's got to be a monster.
He also added that he didn't care what seed the Cavs were. We could be
He
the
never
4th,
does.
5th, 6th, 7th. Yeah,
that's true.
Calling out these, yeah, probably. All right, next one here. We already talked about the controversial ending between the Magic Lakers, but how about that Brook Lopez stat line, guys? Brook became the first player in NBA history listed at 7 feet or taller to put up 25-plus points and 0 rebounds in a game. He finished with 27 points in 34 minutes as a 7-footer had 0 rebounds. Are you up or down on that Brook Lopez bizarre Andrea Bargnani-like line there?
Hey, he's in the record books.
That's right.
Anytime you get in the
Zero
record books,
rebounds.
that's great. But it sort of shows you how rebounds can be overrated at times, because a lot of it is just like if you're in the right position at the right time and a ball clunks off, it lands in your hands.
Yeah,
So-
usually when you're 7 feet tall, you just put your hands up in the air and
Yeah,
it's
that's why
bound to
I'm up
fall
on
in it.
this. This is hard to do, being 7 feet tall. Brook Lopez, not a monster rebounder. He's averaging 3.7 for the season. He's got the longest shot attempts of his
Yeah.
career, so he's a little farther from the basket, but still being 7 feet. You'd think you would get an accidental rebound.
Exactly,
To
free
not
throw.
do it is probably harder than to actually get one.
I agree. That's why I'm up. I'm up for physics because it's incredible. Just watch a game, how a guy can't get a ball in that many minutes.
It's pretty wild. All right, all thumbs up on that one. Final one here, guys. Bulls beat the Grizzlies in a bit of a double tank battle last night, but the highlight of the game, NBA official Bill Kennedy with the exuberant block call in the corner. A couple nice thrusts there. Are you up or down on Bill Kennedy's block call? Lee's dying laughing, so I
How can
assume
you be
that's...
down
Way
on
to go,
that?
Billy.
Is that the best block call we've ever seen?
Yeah, well, one of the best for sure. I tell you before, Billy Kennedy would kill it on Dancing with the Stars. He's got
Light on
great
his
moves.
feet,
He's
he
got
does.
great moves. I love seeing him out on the court, enjoying his job. He's enthusiastic. That's where everyone should be when they turn up to work.
Tass, you used to be a like a softball umpire. Did you add a little flair to your calls, to your strikeouts and stuff like that, or were you by the book?
Oh, sure.
Yeah?
Of course. Why not?
Okay.
Yeah, they called me Kenny Kaiser out there. Yeah. I just yelled a lot. Yeah. Softball, baseball, yeah, T-ball, I did it all.
Trey, your thumbs up.
Oh, of course I'm thumbs up. There's 13 people on the court. You gotta have some fun. Let's get some more flair out there.
Yeah,
We've
exactly.
seen Joey Crawford had his block dance. This is up there with the best block dances of all time. I would have to, I don't know if you're putting Billy or Joey number one, but they're both on the Mount Rushmore of block
I do
yeah.
love the
I mean,
the
that's,
skipping part of that
yeah.
one.
I mean, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1,
That's like
2.
25 feet of block call. Baseline to three-point line.
All right, thumbs up for Bill Kennedy's block call. Thumbs up for Joey Crawford there as well. When we come back, Sexy Sax Man makes for a sexy meme team. Don't go anywhere.
Controller, I apologize for yelling into my mic.
The Starters is brought to you by Jack Daniel's Tennessee Honey, official partner of the NBA.
Every week, we scour the internet to bring you the meme team, our favorite weird and wacky moments from the past 7 days.
At number 5, Charles Barkley hosted Saturday Night Live for the 4th time, and he had a blast.
My name's Sheila Sauvage. Have you ever seen that show Naked and Afraid?
Why were you on that show?
No, but if you play your cards right, I'll make you both.
I got an idea.
Oh, yeah?
I just try these things I stole from the dentist.
Oh, cool.
Got to do a scene with the great Kate McKinnon. And it was cringe-worthy watch. It was great. And here he is with Vern Troyer.
Wow, what a switch up that was.
The Sacramento Kings like to get creative with their player introductions. And so on Saturday, the Kings pranked the visiting Utah Jazz with the services of Sexy Sax Man, playing a little careless whisper there.
It's almost a compliment.
Yeah.
Those moves.
At number 3, it's NBA video games, as the Sixers put together Super Dario Bros. Oh yeah, he's invincible!
Running through people.
Oh, I want to play this so bad now. Go save the princess.
Great stuff. Then Trey gave us some on Wednesday's show, LeBrontra. Fantastic, tough game. Grand Theft Auto.
Very tough.
Nice. The Tims!
Not as many Tims in NBA history as you would think.
Yeah. And then from you guys, Buck, Williams, Hunt, and Pac Manu.
Oh, that's
Nice.
Love it.
good. Shout out to the NBA Reddit community for bringing to our attention the animation skills of Nick Murray Willis, who brings to life some great moments in NBA commentary.
Up high, down hard. Stop it! Do not do him like that. What are you doing? I like my meatballs spicy. What a play! Wow! Oh, wow! Is that an elevator? That was an elevator all the way to the top floor. I cannot believe you've done it again.
At number 1, it's the soup suspension. As we know, J.R. Smith suspended 1 game for throwing soup at Cavs assistant Damon Jones. Worldwide Wob had him bowling soup. Oh, and the memes, they kept it coming.
No soup for you.
Watch this. What the heck are you doing?
That's what I'm talking about.
Supreme.
Oh,
another
man.
great one. Another great one. And the MJ meme in the soup.
Ah.
Wow, the
Love
merge of memes.
Nice. Nice.
One more break. When we return, Lily hits us with a very solid play. And I can't believe you didn't do a mini-me impersonation. We just saw Vern Troyer.
He doesn't say anything.
Oh, I know, but... It's Thursday already. We got TNT doubleheader tonight. Celtics, Wolves, followed by the Spurs and Warriors. Nice action there. All right, we asked you, what starters clothing items should we consider selling? You hit us up on Twitter, hashtag the starters. Trey, you got some answers.
Yeah, I got some answers, but really only one, guys. We're getting into the underwear business. Bell wants to see wedgie thongs. John says wedgie underwear. It's always jammed out there, but my favorite answer comes from Jobber, who says Lee Ellis banana hammocks. No, thank you. I saw the underneath of that costume yesterday.
Can I just clarify, that Belle is from Australia, so when she says thongs, she's meaning flip-flops on your feet.
I don't think so. I don't know, Lee.
All right, pick 'em results from last night. Lee, you had the Pacers. You were wrong. Yeah. Jazz took care of it. You see the records there for the month of March at the bottom. Got a perfect game going right now. Woo! Sixers Heat. Good game tonight. Trey and Lee like the 76ers on the road. Tass and myself will go with the Heat. These teams played not too long ago. That was the, Dwayne Wade game winner. Lily, VSP.
Yeah, going to the Magic and Lakers game from last night. It's a beautiful one here from Lonzo Ball. Where's KCP? Boom. There he is. That's what I
Simple,
like. Yeah,
simple,
simple one, but look at a high percentage pass and a very high percentage finish for a layup. It's beautiful. That's what I call a very solid play.
Very solid indeed. Also solid Fridays, because we got the Drop Podcast. Keep an eye on that. Always a blast. Get your questions in right now. The starters at NBA.com. All right, I think we got some time for some fan songs.
We do, and it's the serial sign sender in our Michael. He strikes again. Down in Miami.
Wow.
He says, I love the starters, and bam, ada, bye.
Ayo!
There you go. Beautiful.
Way
And
to
this
go,
is-
Michael. Thank
Nice one.
That's a good sign.
Yeah, he always delivers very high quality signs. Another one from Staples Center. This is Dominic and Kelly at the Knicks and Clippers game from a little bit ago. Another one that slipped through the system. But
What's your system?
Well,
your system isn't working.
Listen, don't send me fan signs on Friday nights.
Oh my God!
You just
unplug-
to see those ones.
It was such a tough week. You got to unplug at the end of the week.
you. Looks like Jake from Jake and Amir.
All right, that's it for us tonight. Drop Podcast tomorrow. Back here at 7.
Thanks for joining us, folks. And remember, this is how players should be ejected from games. And...
People.
I thought it was longer than that.